Ladies and gentlemen, day 114 of the Russian invasion and the 9th year of the Russian Federation's war against Ukraine. My name is Andriy Shevchenko, and on behalf of the Media Ukraine team, I'm very happy to welcome all the journalists. And
для мами. Вчора у Львові відбулася завершальна виставка-аукціон благодійного проєкту українських митців за кордоном «Руки для мами». В рамках проєкту були представлені роботи українських митців, виставлені в різних країнах Європи, і зібрані кошти з продажу цих творів мистецтва мають скерувати на протезування жінок, які постраждали під час обстрілів з боку російських окупантів. Я запрошую розказати про цей проєкт. Пані Khrystyну Beregovsку, кураторку проєкту і докторку мистецтвознавства. Пані Khrystyna.
Вітаю. Отже, ідея проєкту «Руки для мами» вона з'явилася 8 квітня після обстрілів, які відбулися на вокзалі у Краматорську. Тоді ми з проєктом від Львівщини «Жертовність» перебували у Гамбурзі. Ми возили дуже цікавий мистецький проєкт. І, власне, в одній з галерей ми спілкувалися з українськими художниками, які в той час перебували у Гамбурзі в зв'язку із війною. Вони там проживали. І вони розказували і ділилися з нами великими занепокоєннями, як важко їм працювати в час війни і як важливо для них долучитися до якихось добрих справ, благодійних справ, щоб допомогти потерпілим. Власне, в цей час ми зрозуміли, що дуже важлива колаборація між художниками, між людьми, які можуть допомогти, і між цими потерпілими. В такий спосіб ми вирішили зібрати твори мистецтва, живопис, скульптура, графіка, кераміка, запропонувати ці високопрофесійне мистецтво відповідним зацікавленим колам, поціновувачам мистецтва і пізніше, зібравши певну суму грошей, скерувати їх на протезування чи допротезове лікування для цих потерпілих жінок. Що є важливо, коли ми цей проект сформували концептуально, ми вирішили його запропонувати різним нашим дипломатичним відомствам, звернувшись через Міністерство закордонних справ. Зацікавлення виявили Берлін та Відень. Ми помандрували з таким комплексним мистецьким проєктом, власне, до Берліна, до нашого посольства, де була презентована виставка в одній з кращих німецьких галерей. Німці виявили величезне зацікавлення творами сучасного мистецтва українських художників, і ця інформація ширилася дуже активно в різними країнами Європи і за океаном. Тому, відбувши проєкт у Відні і в Берліні, вчора ми його фіналізували, перший етап у Львові, і маємо дуже великі плани мандрувати до інших країн Європи. Вже за тиждень ми будемо в Парижі, ну і далі.
Я хочу долучити до розмови Романа Шепеляка, директора Департаменту міжнародного співробітництва Львівської обласної військової адміністрації. Пане Романе, тут на Львівщині вам доводиться приймати дуже багатьох переселенців, які вирвалися з зони бойових дій. Чому такий проєкт важливий?
Доброго дня. Ви знаєте, дійсно, правда, Львівщина від початку війни, 114-й день війни, як ви сказали, стала своєрідним гуманітарним хабом. І не тільки по наданню гуманітарної допомоги для інших регіонів України, які того потребують. Ми від початку війни на Львівщину приїхало і поїхало більше 600 тисяч переселенців. Їх всіх треба годувати, їм всім треба давати житло, їм треба давати робочі місця. Звичайно, коштів на це не вистачає. За допомогою того проєкту ми зуміли закумулювати кошти. На сьогоднішній день вже зібрано близько 50 тисяч євро для тих людей, які цього потребують. Але тут мова йде не тільки про сам збір коштів. За допомогою проєкту ми допомагаємо світу все-таки не забувати про ті страшні події, які зараз відбуваються в Україні. На жаль, люди продовжують гинути, наші воїни-захисники продовжують гинути. Наші жінки і діти продовжують гинути на сході України, і не всі в світі однозначно сприймають ту інформацію. За допомогою тих творів мистецтва, за допомогою наших дипломатичних відомств, за допомогою тої інформації, яку ми надаємо зараз по світу, як сказала Христина, і в Німеччині, і в Австрії, і збираємося до Франції, і потім далі по світу, ми можемо доносити все-таки інформацію про ту війну, яка йде зараз в центрі Європи, в Україні.
Я прошу до мікрофона Северина Khobzeya, співорганізатора проєкту і депутата Львівської обласної ради. Пане Северине, у проєкту заявлена дуже специфічна ціль, на яку повинні піти кошти. Як ви плануєте розпорядитися ними?
Так, всім доброго дня. Перш за все, я би хотів подякувати нашим Збройним силам за те, що у нас є така можливість проводити такі благодійні аукціони в мирному Львові, які мають мету творити добрі справи. Також хотілося б подякувати тим добродіям, які вчора в Берліні і в Відні купили картини львівських митців і тим самим допомогли потребуючим людям, а саме матерям і дітям, для того, щоб в них в подальшому складалося нормальне життя. Ці кошти ми збираємо на біопротезування, тобто це високотехнологічне протезування, яке під'єднується до нервових закінчень. Ми знаємо, що держава Україна виділяє кошти кожному, хто потребує протези, але вони ця програма не є настільки масштабна, що може покрити біопротезування. Тому, власне, ми збираємо кошти для того, щоб забезпечити тих матерів, які мають малих дітей, для того, щоб вони якнайменше відчували цей дискомфорт, власне, від втрати кінцівок, щоб їхнє життя було якнайбільш адаптованим. І ми бачили багато різних відео, коли навіть спортсмени виграють змагання на протезах і займають призові місця, тому ми хочемо, щоб тим людям, яким це буде потрібно, щоб вони себе відчували максимально комфортно.
Я запрошую відповідати того з вас трьох, хто вважатиме за доцільне. Скажіть, яку суму, які кошти вдалося зібрати на сьогодні, і, можливо, які у вас плани, яку ви планку виставляєте наперед?
Ми зібрали понад 50 тисяч євро. Більша сума була зібрана вчора у Львові на успішному аукціоні. Ми продали більшу половину творів мистецтва. Фактично продано близько 40 живопису і скульптури. В нас немає як такої планки, тому що кожен день, як сказав Северин і Роман, потрапляють до нас, до Львова на лікування дуже важко поранені жінки, діти і воїни. І ми не одні збираємо кошти, але потреб є дуже багато, тому ми не виставляємо планки по мірі поступлення. Єдине скажу, що ми виставляємо планку щодо промоції українського мистецтва у світі, і в нас є дуже багато запланованих мандрів і до Кореї, і до Канади, і до Сполучених Штатів Америки, і навіть до Австралії. Тому проект буде розвиватися і буде дуже набувати широкого розвитку.
Ви сказали, що ідея проєкту з'явилася після цього жахливого удару по залізничній станції Краматорська. Чи була якась конкретна історія, яка вас вразила, яка вас заставила цим зайнятися? Може, у вас вже є людина або люди, яким ви плануєте допомогти?
Та справа, що нас вразила родина Степаненків. Вони зараз дуже популярні. Ми їх, власне, приїхали до них до лікарні, з ними спілкувалися, і нас вразив такий факт в розмові. Неважливо, чи ви нам зберете кошти. Нам багато хто хоче допомогти і відправити до Америки, і акумулювати ці гроші. Нам найважливіше ця ваша увага і ваша турбота, зацікавленість нашою бідою. Не буде нам, буде іншим. Але дуже важливо, що ви з великим відкритим серцем хочете допомагати. Це для нас було дуже показово, і ми вирішили не якось звертатися до тієї одної родини, а хто буде потребувати, тому відповідно допомагати.
Що ви чуєте від митців, які дають свої картини на ці аукціони? Як вони реагують? Може, взагалі це якась ширша тема про роль мистецтва під час війни?
Дозвольте, я дам відповідь. Митці, по-перше, багато митців митці поділилися на дві категорії. Одні ті, які продовжують малювати в час війни і творити твори на тему війни або під впливом війни, а інші, які не можуть малювати, бо вони зайшли в певну депресію і їм зараз це не виходить. Натомість ця можливість допомогти іншим, вона дає можливість і провокує на нові твори для тих власних художників, яким тяжко зараз дається малярство. Тобто вони розуміють, що вони можуть зараз комусь бути потрібними, допомогти, тим самим створити прекрасний чудовий твір, який купить благодійник, і тим самим вони теж будуть причетні до чогось доброго і допоможуть сім'ям і людям, які цього потребують. Також є важлива місія, власне, як сказала Христина, популяризації українського мистецтва у світі. Зараз про Україну знають всі, чують всі кожен день. На жаль, про погані події. Ми би хотіли те, щоб люди почули про українське мистецтво, про те, які в нас є круті художники, круті скульптори, круті керамісти. І вони всі радо до цього долучаються. Наприклад, в Берліні ми проводили аукціон, він ще не завершився, там продовжується експозиція до 3 липня. В дуже крутій галереї берлінській. Багато хто з художників просто мріяв туди колись попасти, і там просто черги, щоб туди попасти, але Христина зв'язалася, власне, з власниками галереї, і вони нам зробили певний коридор для того, щоб ми могли виставити цю експозицію. Тому мені здається, що ця кооперація художників з творінням добра, вона має велику перспективу.
Руки для мами можна двозначно почути і можна прочитати, що це і допомога для нашої неньки України, для держави. Пане Романе, наскільки важлива для держави і для влади така допомога?
Знаєте, як я вже сказав спочатку, дійсно коштів тих, які є в бюджеті, їх не вистачає. Тому ми намагаємося всіляким чином зібрати кошти від небайдужих людей. І нам за рахунок цього проекту, завдяки цьому проекту, нам то досить непогано вдається. Зараз для держави важлива кожна копійка. Кожна копійка, яка може бути спрямована на воєнні потреби, на боротьбу з ворогом. І я думаю, що ті всі наші митці, які долучилися до того, ті меценати, які придбали ті картини, вони разом з нами, ми всі наближаємо ту перемогу, яка є неминучою, я вважаю, логічною. Тільки от сама дата тої перемоги, від неї залежить кількість жертв, яку ми насправді понесемо в цій війні.
Роман Шепyliak, Severyn Khobzey і Khrystyna Beregovska. Проект «Руки для мами». Дякую за те, що ви робите, і дякую за цю розмову. Прошу стежити за нашими анонсами. Наш наступний брифінг об 11 годині. Stand with Ukraine.
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen. This is day 114 of the Russian invasion and the 9th year of the Russian war against Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, day 114 of the Russian aggression and the 9th year of the Russian Federation's war against Ukraine. My name is Andriy Shevchenko. On behalf of the Media Center Ukraine team, I would like to welcome all the journalists that are telling the world about our fight for freedom. This time, we would like to talk about vocational education in Ukraine. It's obvious that there are some new emerging challenges faced by vocational education, and we will have a discussion with Oleg Paska, Director of the Education and Science Department of the Lviv Oblast Military Administration. Oleg, what does the war mean for vocational education and training in Ukraine? Thank you. Well, first and foremost, I would like to note that vocational education in Ukraine, and in particular in Lviv region, is helping a lot, whatever is happening in our country. Our educators are making clothes for the military. They also manufactured anti-tank obstacles, hedgehogs. They're also catering for the needs of IDPs, and they are doing a lot to help Ukraine win this war. They are creating a robust home front, and they are helping us inch towards our victory. It's a pivotal moment right now because our VET students are finishing yet another academic year. Our school students are finishing yet another academic year, and they're trying to choose their future profession, their future specialty. So I would like to encourage all the school graduates to have a look at the multiple video clips that you can find on YouTube, because basically we can offer a lot of worker specialties. What kind of specialties are you talking about? Some construction-related ones, plumbers, welders, joiners, cooks. This is another very popular occupation. We made some changes in some curricular, and within one of the training programs, VET students will be trained in operating drones. There are a lot of interesting specialties, and our vocational education and training is stimulating and insightful to start with. And now I want to engage in our discussion Mr. Stepan Kubida, Director of the Economic Policy Department of the Lviv Oblast Military Administration. To what extent are these changes and worker specialties important for the economy of Ukraine and Lviv region in particular? Thank you for this question. You know, in the past, we talked extensively about the importance of VET. This issue was raised at each and every meeting, but unfortunately, the reality did not always reflect all these discussions. I believe that we have been able to change this trend in the last couple of years. I would like to briefly outline what we have already done, what is the current state of play, and what are the prospects for the future. Currently, vocational education and training is sort of in limbo. It's hanging in the air because it had to assume some of the functions that are not typical of it, some of the functions that Oleg referenced, but at the same time, VET has to continue performing its main function, which is the economic one. Changes in the economic framework require some changes in our educational institutions, and we can already see some of the examples. It's important to make sure that we have sufficient regional orders for worker specialties. A specialized council was established to this end. We approved regional orders for specific workforce. Now we have set specific indicators in terms of quantity and quality that we want to achieve within our vocational education and training system, and it's all in line with the economy. The economy is changing. Welders, electric mechanics, construction specialists are gaining in popularity, and they are becoming more and more important for our economy. We have also removed some of the occupations that are not really characteristic of our economy or that have lost their relevance. Can you mention some examples? I think you will agree with me that such a specialty as a cash person cashier is not really an occupation that requires 2 years of training. We can have this specialty within shorter training courses. We also merged some of the occupations. We have so-called blended or integrated occupations right now. And there's another important thing in the work that we have done together with the Economic Policy Department, Education and Science Department. Business is the main customer. What do I mean by customer? A business person comes to the director of an educational institution or to a teacher and says, I need a construction professional, but I need him or her to be able to do this, this, and that. It all sounds nice on paper and during discussions, but this is something that we have already translated into practice, which means that businesses are actively engaged in revising and updating VET curricula. This is something that we have been pursuing for a long time, and finally we have been able to bring it to fruition. There's a lot of responsibility and strain on VET schools because the IDPs that we have here in Lviv region require this education as well. What will change for students this year within VET? Well, first of all, VET students will be able to gain new skills. This is something that I referred to earlier. For example, they will be trained in operating drones. We also have a well-established network of practical training centers. In the recent years, we have invested hefty amounts to equip VET schools with state-of-the-art workshops. Therefore, when a graduates from a VET school, they might not even be able to find that equipment at companies. My point is that our VET graduates are usually trained in cutting-edge, state-of-the-art technologies. We also have a UNDP-supported project, and we have 3-month training courses for IDPs. It's a great opportunity for them to acquire a new occupation, and this training program is enjoying enormous popularity. We have 3 people per place, and we have people of all age groups who come to us and express their desire to acquire a new occupation because this is a great opportunity for them to make their living. My name is Natalia. I represent the Media Center Ukraine. A lot of Ukrainian children are leaving the country to do their studies abroad. It's related to the current hostilities in our country. What can we do to talk them into staying in Ukraine and doing their studies in Ukrainian educational institutions? First and foremost, it's all about the quality of the education that they can receive. If we're talking about vocational education and training, we have some high-level VET schools. You can even come and visit them to see everything firsthand. As for those children that are still in primary school or secondary school, of course, they are concerned about safety and security, but it has nothing to do with our capacities. It's related to the inadequate behavior of our neighbor, the Russian aggressor that launched this brutal assault on our country. But we are trying to take good care of these children as well. We have a project entitled Ukrainian Remote School. In the past several years, we have mastered the technologies of remote learning. So it's a great opportunity for Ukrainian children and graduates to continue being integrated in the Ukrainian education system. I also have a question. We presented the findings of a survey among IDPs living in Lviv region, and 55% of them said that they were planning to find a job here, or that they were not against finding a job here in Lviv region. It's quite a big number. Is it a problem or an opportunity for the region? It might be a problem because potentially we might have a high unemployment rate, or maybe it's an opportunity because we will have some new workforce. For the time being, it's a problem, but the war has demonstrated that you can easily convert any problem into a fantastic opportunity or advantage. If we use the language of numbers, the numbers available to employment centers, we do not really see any positive trend. We are in perpetual communication with businesses, and we know that they are doing their utmost to offer job placements for IDPs. In terms of the current state of affairs, our economy is stagnant, and in the near future, I believe that we will not be able to meet the supply among IDPs, but this is part of our homework. This is the homework that we need to do. Providing the economy is in the same condition as today, or providing the economy starts developing more vibrantly, the situation will definitely improve, because we can see that some of the positive signs are already in place, and we will do everything within our capacity to offer a job to everyone who wants to be employed. Also keep in mind that Lviv region has become a safe haven for multiple companies from the eastern and southern parts of Ukraine, about 160 companies that have relocated from different economic sectors, and thousands and thousands of jobs. So the regional economy is generating some jobs, but this number is not that high. Relocated businesses can also offer some workplaces. Some primary demand is already there. I'm not really sure how things will pan out in the next 6 months, let's say, until the end of the year. It's challenging for me to give an accurate forecast, because the situation is very dynamic and volatile, but this is one of the tasks of our department. What will vocational education and training be like after the victory? I would like to add something to what Stepan said. The experience of these short-term training courses testifies that we need to continue this pattern. This way, people will be better positioned to find a job. And as for the post-victory education, it will be even better. It will continue prospering, and everything that we planned at the beginning of the year will definitely be translated into reality. We have enormous teaching potential, educational potential, and our VET can be easily on par with VET systems in European countries. We just need to create congenial conditions for this competition. Anything to add? I believe that the day when we declare our victory, the day when we finally have peace, will mark a pivotal moment in our history. VET will become even more demanded, even more needed, and of course there are multiple challenges that we need to rise up to, and it's all about changing the psychology and mindset in the first place. Oleg Paska, Stepan Kubida were with us. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Our next briefing will take place at noon. Stand with Ukraine. Ladies and gentlemen, day 114 of the Russian invasion and the 9th year of the Russian Federation's war against Ukraine. My name is Andriy Shevchenko. On behalf of the Media Center Ukraine team, I would like to welcome all the journalists that are telling the world about our fight for freedom. We are having a special event today. We intend to talk about a concert that is scheduled at the Lviv National Philharmonic Society tonight. This is a concert where Nino Katamaza, a prominent Georgian singer, will perform. And together with her, we will also have the Lviv Orchestra on stage. First and foremost, I want to give the floor to Ms. Iolanta Khrystyna, chair of the board of the Lviv Orchestra. Iolanta, can you tell us more about the concert tonight? Thank you. Good afternoon. Greetings to everyone. To all those behind the screen, to all those here in the conference room. The idea of this concert was born at the very outset of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It was a proposal on the part of our Georgian partners, Ms. Nino Katamaza in the first place. They contacted us and said that they wanted to come here and collaborate with our orchestras. We said yes right out of the gate, but we had only half our members in the orchestra at that time, only women. And what we felt in Georgia on stage there is something that we want to replicate here in Ukraine at the Lviv National Philharmonic Society tonight. It's very difficult to describe everything in words, because if you hear, or if you want to hear, you will take it in. But if you don't want to hear, you will not accept this message. Therefore, we believe that music is a tool that we can use to reach out to the hearts of those people that do not want to hear about our pain, our fear, and our unrelenting desire to win. I am elated that Nino, despite the risk, came to Ukraine together with Nicholas. They instilled even more hope in us, because whenever people of this kind come to Ukraine under these dire circumstances, we feel tangible support and we have more faith in our future. To the best of our understanding, it will be a charity concert, and all the proceeds from ticket sales will be channeled to support Ukraine's armed forces. Thank you, Iolanta. And now I want to give the floor to Georgian composer and conductor, Mr. Nicholas Rachveli. Tonight, Reverence to Ukraine, your piece will be performed. What do you want to say through this work?
First of all, I'm very thankful to God that with Nino I have possibility to be in Ukraine. When we, three of us, Sopo, Chkonia, Nino Katamaza and me, when we decide to travel in the country where is going Russian aggression, war, of course we were afraid a little bit, until we cross the what is the name, port of your country. When we saw name of Ukraine, we feel that we are strong, because Ukraine is strong. From the first day, from February, when Georgia TV told us what is going on, what is happening here, after 1 hour, in the rehearsal room of Georgian National Philharmonic Orchestra, where I am artistic director. All the musicians came without some asking or announcing. Came Nino, and we were first music institution in the world who performed national anthem of Ukraine and performed Ukrainian music live to show for all of the world that Georgian musicians and country and citizens and people, we are here from all of our heart. Then in Georgia we did several events, and really I'm proud to say that Georgian Philharmonic Orchestra with charity events for Ukraine, we could select more than 500,000 United States dollars and send it. We had communication with the administration of President Ukraine, and then was the biggest event when Lviv International Symphony Orchestra members, girls, women, came, and together with Georgian Orchestra we did, and together with Nino and Jamala, we did one of the biggest charity event in Georgia history. And after, we are continuing our solidarity action, being here. It was never unforgettable, our concert in underground station in Kiev. Nino, me, and musicians from Kiev Philharmonic Orchestra, and we were very happy that we could share our emotions to Ukrainian people. And then we are here in Lviv. We are doing today also charity concert together with wonderful, really great musicians which are performing, which are working in International Orchestra Lviv. And I think that we will continue this partnership. We absolutely think that Ukraine will win in this war. We think that this winning is winning of my country, Georgia, because we have the same enemy. We are in the same boat, how we can say it. And of course, today we will perform my and Giacancelli's music. Nino will perform her own compositions with us, and music from Georgian films and theater. And everything, every note, every breath will dedication to the soldiers, to the victims, and to the citizens of this wonderful, great, beloved country, Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава! Діді Мадлоба, пане Речелі, дякую.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rachveli. And now it's a great honor and pleasure for me to give the floor to prominent Georgian singer and composer, Nino Katamaza. Nino, what will your mood be during the concert tonight? What exactly do you want to say to Ukraine and the entire globe by dint of this concert? First of all, I would like to point out that that will be my last interview in Russian. And from now on, I will speak either Ukrainian or Georgian during interviews. Our tonight's voice, like the voice yesterday, the voice after 2014, and each and every visit to Ukraine is the voice of friendship, the voice of freedom, the voice of support, the voice of love that we have as a Georgian people for Ukraine. We are your friends. We are performers that have great love for our friends here in Ukraine. The entire repertoire was put together specifically for the Lviv Orchestra. We worked on that together with Nicholas Rachveli. We wanted to make sure that we would be able to play all these pieces of music, and we want to communicate the voice of freedom through this music. Friends, you have a great opportunity to ask some questions, and if necessary, I will have your questions translated into the Russian language. If you have a question, just give me a signal. And while you are formulating your questions, I have another question, if I may. You've been in Ukraine for over a week. You were in Kyiv, on the outskirts of Kyiv. Now you're here in Lviv. Which moment, which episode impressed you most in the past several days? What is something that will stay etched in your memory? It's very painful to watch the clock, to listen for the siren. You don't want to miss the beginning of the curfew. And at the same time, you have to give thought to struggle. You have to give thought to what exactly you want to do in this beautiful, amazing country. We encountered some incredible people here. They welcomed us with flowers, with love at the railway station. They communicated some messages in the Georgian language. So this entire journey from Kyiv to Lviv, we visited Irpin, we visited the Kyiv subway. All these images will be indelibly imprinted on my mind. They will stay with me for my entire life. All these hugs with people. This is a real showcase of how you should fight for your soil, how you should fight for your life. And I will always remember that we played there in the underground subway. And that happened when a train passed by. So it all happened in the midst of the concert. And it was really heart-wrenching to see that the doors were closed. So people were not really able to disembark where they wanted. So the door to our freedom was not open. But at the same time, even in such situations, the voice of peace and support will continue sounding. We need to have faith in the fact that all these doors will reopen, providing we continue fighting fiercely for our lives. We just need to continue looking one another in the eye. And over time, all these doors will definitely reopen. Irpin will definitely stay etched in my memory. Since day one of the war, we have been observing all the developments, all those atrocities that were committed in the town of Irpin. But even now, despite the war, everything was clean. 40% of the local population returned to their homes. But there are houses and buildings that were fully decimated, so you cannot be back there. We observed some burnt down houses, for example, the decimated House of Culture. And I'm sure that the voice of freedom will sound there again over time. It was crucial to see all this firsthand. It was crucial to have that visceral experience. You understand that you are there, but then you exit home and you attend to your daily errands and you partially forget about it. But it's important to keep that anguish in your heart. We need to keep remembering. Peace is indispensable on our planet. Any war where at least one child dies is my war. So it was extremely heart-wrenching to see all that, to see those images. But at the same time, we had to communicate the message of love. But Ukraine is strong. We are strong people, and together we will continue moving forward. We will continue communicating the message of peace and love. We need to demonstrate to our heroes that their lost lives will not be futile. We will do everything within our capacity so that their children will live in a country that boasts dignity. We need to continue pursuing our goals. There's a question from the audience, please, but speaking to a microphone. Greetings, Channel 24, Uliana Zhorban. By your visit to Ukraine, you represent the Georgian people. You said that you wanted to come here since day one of the war. You also supported some IDPs from Ukraine. You and the Georgian people are very supportive of Ukraine, but your government is very cautious about sanctions and some other things pertaining to Ukraine. What is your personal attitude to this confrontation or even division between your people and the government? I'm really sorry, but I will give a very succinct answer. I'm here, and I will stay here. During the first days of the war, when the Georgian government's plan became clear, all Georgian people took to the streets. They demonstrated their choice. They demonstrated their unwavering support. I can state with certainty that you will not find as many Ukrainian flags in any other country as in Georgia. You will see Ukrainian flags everywhere, in big cities and small ones. We've been living with this pain and anguish for about 30 years now. We know what it's like to have to leave your home, to have to leave your city. And we have even children that had to flee Abkhazia and they don't even remember their motherland anymore. Our government is indeed our weakness. We have a very disadvantageous geographic location. And we cannot always be as audacious as we would like to be. This is my personal opinion. But I also want to point out that on the 20th of June, we are going to stage a large-scale rally. Young people are doing a lot. They are fighting really hard to make sure that our country will step on the right pathway. And my presence here is very important right now because we're also waiting for the conclusion from the European Union. Any other questions from the audience? I have another question, if I may. Georgia experienced its own war, its own tragedy, the war, the loss of territories. If we compare Georgia and Ukraine, if we try to draw some parallels between Georgia and Ukraine, are these two similar situations? So what are some differences and what are some commonalities? I would put it in the following way. It's not that we experienced our own war. We are still experiencing this war. This is something that we still have unraveling in Georgia. It's all about the stories of people. They are still living in these memories. They lost their family members. They've lost their sons. They were not able to bury their people. They were not able to bury their children. We have some horrendous stories. I don't even want to share them because they're really graphic. They are really cruel and brutal. Not only did people lose their lives, they lost their faith. They had to overcome multiple challenges to get to the city of Tbilisi, for example. But there was another challenge. In the 1990s, Georgia was undergoing a very dark stretch in our history. There was no water, there was no gas. Corruption was rampant in our country. But still, we had to deal with 300,000 IDPs in Georgia. It was a formidable task for us. It was very painful, and we were not really ready to assume that responsibility back then. So we did not really live through this war yet. We are still in the midst of that experience, and we are learning to continue supporting our brothers and sisters from Abkhazia, let's say, because this is also our territory. These are also our people. This is the pain that we share. I cannot really draw any parallels with Ukraine because you have your own story of pain and anguish, and also story of injustice. We have 1/4 of the country taking the brunt of this hideous war. But I also want to note, if we join forces and try to live up to these challenges together, I'm certain that we will be able to overcome them and continue our lives with dignity. I have a point of clarification. At the very beginning, you said that it would be your last interview in Russian, that from now on, you will speak Georgian or Ukrainian during interviews. Can you tell us more about this decision of yours? How are you coping with Ukrainian? I understand almost everything in Ukrainian, but I realized that it was very difficult for me to speak Russian, especially in those places where there are Russian bombs raining down on people, killing people. It's very difficult. I'm not really sure whether I will succeed with this decision because I've been speaking Russian for 50 years. So I understand it quite a lot, and I can even speak a bit. So I will definitely do everything possible to master the Ukrainian language. Because I have Svetlana Kukach with my son, a beautiful Ukrainian lady. I will ask my last question in Russian. What can you tell us about the link between art and war? Is it an opportune time to sing and play music during the war? If we have to pronounce the word war in the world, we have to fight on all fronts. Our soldiers are fighting on the front line, and we also need to continue this fight on our own front through creativity, through art, through our spirits. We need to tell our message of the war. This is a force that can galvanize people into action. This is a force that can yield some beautiful fruits. And I believe that through creativity and art, we will be better positioned to obtain a victory. Tonight, 7 p.m., Lviv National Philharmonic Society, a charity concert involving Nino Katamaza and the Lviv Orchestra. It's a charity concert, and all proceeds from ticket sales will be channeled to support Ukraine's armed forces. I'm very grateful to all our guests today, and in particular to Nino Katamaza for this beautiful conversation. Thank you.